And we are live. Surprise! Of course, nobody's in here yet that I can see. So I'm basically just talking to myself. There's the first viewer. Guitar Player 232. That's a username I don't recognize either. This is kind of a surprise impromptu thing that I'm doing today. Mostly because I got a new camera lens specifically for this purpose. It zooms out a little bit farther and kind of gives me a little bit different look that a little bit closer to the look that I've been after, even though but I didn't take into account that it's a little bit more of a wide a wide screen, a wide angle type of lens, and the room behind me is not as messy as it could be, but it's still a bit messy. Anyway, so there's Serenity. What's up, dude? What's everybody doing on this on this fine, lovely weekend, covered in snow? At least as it is in most, I don't know about most parts. Most parts of the country, I think, are covered in snow at the moment. Pardon me. The room looks lived in and used, not messy. It could use a little work. I I sold a, you might be able to see here behind me. Well, if you can see Zoe behind me, now she's up and moving around a little bit. There's Zoe. So right next to her, this black case just came in yesterday. My favorite gig bag, the zipper broke on it. I've had that gig bag for, it was a Sterling gig bag, an Ernie Ball Sterling gig bag that I inherited back at my store days. It got orphaned, but the guitar, whoever bought the guitar that it went with, bought it with a, pardon me, bought it with a 60, or with a hard case, and left the gig bag behind. So anyway, long story short, I managed to snag a gig bag, and I've used it on all kinds of stuff, and it's been my favorite gig bag, but the zipper broke on it, so I decided to get this new soft case to replace it. And it's a gig bag that I use for all kinds of stuff. A guitar that might not have a case, I'll take it and throw it in there, and take it to the shop to go get worked on or whatever, stuff like that. So I'm generally a hard case kind of guy, but I do like to have a really nice gig bag laying around for utility purposes such as that. So that thing arrived this week, and I haven't had a chance to put it away yet because the closet where it needs to go is also a total shithole right now. Let's see. I'm getting a warning. It says, warning, the stream's current bit rate, yada, 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 is lower than the recommended bit rate. We recommend that you use a stream bit rate of 6800 kbps. Is there any way to change that, or am I stuck? Stream health, warning. What? Product drops. Tag products. Interesting. This is my first live stream in quite some time, guys. I think I looked, the last time I did one of these was July of last year. I kind of got burnt out, and I had lost interest in doing them, to be honest. So okay, now it's saying back to good connection or whatever. Freaking internet. So so I kind of got burnt out, and I got this new lens, and you can see, as I mentioned earlier, you guys can see a little bit more of the room now that from this angle that you used to be able to. But more importantly, it's not like zoomed right in on my head, which is, I always thought was kind of uncomfortable, and that was the farthest out I could get the other lens to zoom. which is this lens. Good lens. It's just, there's a wall right behind it and I can't move the camera back. So I got this new lens for Christmas, and I'm trying it out now. Anywho, let's see. Darplayer 232, jamming and staying warm. I'm doing the staying warm part, though. I am. You guys might not know this about me, but I love to cook, and Mexican food in particular. And I was watching. One of my favorite YouTube channels is Rick Bayless, and I was watching some of his salsa videos this morning. So, pardon me. I am thinking about trekking out later on to go to the grocery store to get some ingredients to make some salsa. So, but I don't know yet because it's Saturday. It's it's NFL playoff season, so there's gonna be football on. And I got Mortal Kombat to play as well, so I may not get that far, but we'll see. Let's see. Time surfing alien. Good Saturday to you too, sir. Interesting screen name. Zim's Guitars is in here. I appeared on his channel once upon a time. What's going on, dude? How are you? Block of Delighter. It's evening all. Must be evening over in your part of the world. It is going on 1 o'clock here in my part of the world. Let's see. Jean-Claude. I remember when really good cases could be had for $60. That wasn't all that long ago, unfortunately. Inflation being what it is, it is what it is. The $60, I remember, when I was back at Guitar Center, as a manager at the store, the Polyfoam, the Roadrunner Polyfoam cases were sold for $59.99. And they were, if you had somebody that didn't quite want to drop the coin on a hard case, or even a more expensive hard case that was $80 or $90, the $60 Polyfoam case that was kind of a hybrid between a hard case and a gig bag was a really, really good solution. And I had, the only problem with those is if the zipper broke on it, then it was kind of done. But it's a little, whereas on a hard case, if a latch breaks, you can replace the latch in a lot of cases if you can find one. But nowadays, that same case is, that same $60 case is $100 at least, if not more. And I mean, this one, that's a Roadrunner as well. The Roadrunner Highway Series. It's I think that sells for $120 or something. I don't know. It'll serve my purposes, but yeah, the days of the days of good cases for 50, 60, $80 or kind of they seem to be gone now, unfortunately. Still find a cheap case for $60 or $80 now, I guess, but sometimes that's enough. Cheap is not, is a lot better than the old chipboard cases that people carried their stuff around in back in the 50s and 60s. They're better than that, so I guess something to be said for it. But let's see. Jack Bird is here. Says try the green wire. I don't know what the green wire. I don't know what you're referring to with that. Unfortunately, I apologize. CS says you could probably add a little more volume, Robert. And hello, is that a current or vintage Rat solo? I just picked up a current Rat and I dig it pretty good. More volume, he says. Let me go to the other. Okay, I guess it is saying I need to turn it up a wee bit. Where am I? Channel 1, I think. Channel 1. So if I turn up ye hear volume just a. Oop, too much. Check. Still too hot. Still too hot. That better? That might even be a little hot there. See how that is. Let me know if it starts clipping and I'll turn it back down. Is that a current or a vintage Rat Solo? I picked up a current Rat and I dig it pretty good. It's a current one. I bought it as an open box. The pedal's actually out in the other room. And it. I'm honest. I bought it as this thing is. I mean, this thing's expensive. This thing's like $200 brand new, and I bought an open box for a lot less. Which is still under warranty, and I'm probably going to send it off to Proco to have it looked at because I'm not convinced that it sounds the way it's supposed to, and also why it was, it may have been an open box pedal in the first place because it just sounds really loose and really woofy, and then on the middle setting, what do they call that one? The melt, or I can't remember what that mode is. It's the middle distortion mode. There's actually a huge volume drop. So there's something wrong with it, and I want to make sure, I want to have the right people go through it and make sure that it's working the way it's supposed to before I demo it, because it just doesn't sound right. I don't want to do a video on it and find out, oh, when I was that I was showing you guys is actually fucked up. So I want to do that first. I just haven't gotten around to it, but I did register it, and here's all the paper candy stuff, and I also want my free Rat t-shirt. But if you just got a new a vintage Rat Solo, you guys know me, I love Rat pedals. I used to hate them. I did a video on this a few months ago. I used to hate Rat pedals, but I figured out what I was doing wrong with them when I tried them as a kid, and became more open-minded, tried them again, and long story, it was the Electro Harmonix flat iron fuzz that converted me, which is a Rat circuit, and they are absolutely awesome pedals. They're not for everybody. They're they're kind of really nasty and gnarly, and they got a lot of gain, and even on the low gain settings they got a lot of gain. They can get away from you in a hurry. And, if you like fuzz, you can crank it up and get some really, really nasty fuzz sounds out of it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I love them. I love Rat pedals. So I wanted to try this Rat Solo thing because it's kind of supposed to be like the alter ego, for lack of a better description, of the Rat. But you probably got the vintage version of this one, and this is just the Rat 2, which is the current production model that they make today, and I love this pedal. I love that one. And I love this one. This isn't a Proco. This is from a brand called Little Bear. These things are, I think I bought this pedal on eBay for like $50 or something. It's got 3 different Rat pedals in one. I think it's got a turbo and the vintage Rat or something like that. I'm sorry. It's got the regular, and it's got the turbo and the U Dirty Rat. It's got those 3 circuits in it, and that pedal is a really, really good bargain, and I think sounds really awesome. So I got lucky with one. Got a Les Paul Special 2 with a hard case for $165. Nice, especially if it's a Gibson Les Paul Special 2. Any thoughts on Dolimo pedals? I'm new to guitars and really don't know squat. That brand I'm not familiar with. Dolamo. Let's have a look-see. Dolamo pedals, first thing came up. Oh, I see. Okay, they look like budget pedals. So, go to check them out on Amazon, because they seem to have a bunch of them. Under $20 in most cases. There's a distortion for $16.99. Tremolo for $17.99. A super overdrive, something or other. 4-knob overdrive pedal for $28.99. There's a compressor for $19.99. Wow, those are budget pedals. Yeah, no, that's the first I've heard of them. You know, but I mean, some of those. I mean, I'm certainly not. You know, I don't have any beef at all with with import budget pedals. I mean, you know, here's one example. You know, that's the New X Plexi Crunch. I think this pedal's like what, $50 new, $40 new, something like that. I don't know. I mean, it's cheap. You know, and this is the Marshall in a box style distortion. It's great. You know. I, of course, demoed a bunch of Joyo stuff, and you know, yeah, I haven't heard those particular ones, but you know, I've got, you know, the technology and the economics, you know, they've got that part down, so you know, there's no reason to think why they wouldn't be comparable. Let's see. JMK 2112 says thoughts on Iconic Guitar / BC Rich controversy. That's I'm at a loss. I have not heard anything about a BC Rich controversy of any kind. You know, I'm not sure. I don't know that I'm familiar with Iconic Guitars. I don't know, does they rip off a BC Rich design or something? I don't know. CS says, according to Josh at JHS, all Rat versions except for the original Rat are still made in the U.S., which is probably why they're up there in price versus the Rat made in China. All Rat versions except for the original are still made in the U.S. I didn't know that. But that would also make sense why the Rat 2 is a lot cheaper than the rest of them, because the You Dirty Rat and the Turbo Rat and the Fat Rat, all those are pretty pricey, $200 or so, or close to it. And Jim Woodard's here, my buddy Jim. What's up, dude? Let's see. Just seen an iconic guitar post about laying off the entire staff. An iconic guitar post laying off the entire staff. A BC Rich? I don't know. I guess I need somebody to elaborate more on what Iconic Guitar is, or who they are. But I mean, BC Rich is, they've been under new ownership for a couple years now, which includes Zoltan Bathory from Five Finger Death Punch. I know he's got a stake in it. But if that is the case, unfortunately, it wouldn't surprise me, because there, as I have, I've learned this week that this past holiday season was really, really rough for the guitar industry. To the point, I'm not going to mention who told me this, but it was a reliable source. I'm not going to mention who they were referring to, but there was a lot of companies, a lot of brands, who normally kill it over the holiday season. That's pretty standard. People generally make a shitload of money during the holidays, but this year they, there was a lot of brands that were down 20, 30, even 40% in some cases. And I've heard, unfortunately, of a few instances, a few companies that are experiencing layoffs right now, and I am unfortunately one of them. If you didn't see the caption on the screen there, so so you guys are going to be seeing a lot more content from me here in the next couple of weeks. It's, it hadn't happened yet, but it's coming. But I'm not going to talk about. That's not why I'm why I'm doing this. So I'm going to keep those details to myself. They'll come out later on when they come out. So, Louis Villarreal. Hey Robert, what do you think of all this chips and guitar unboxing going on? That must be, I must be out of the loop on what in the hell's going on in the guitar world, because I'm not sure, but I have seen a lot of, my own Chipson video has gotten a lot of traffic lately, and that would explain why. Is there a recent run on people buying fake Gibsons, hopefully they're buying them knowing what they're buying, rather than getting ripped off. So, I don't know. If it's an unboxing video, I mean, I generally don't have a whole lot of use for unboxing videos. To me, that should be, if the brand wants an unboxing showcased, or featured, in my opinion, should be part of the demo, and that's usually how I do it. If I'm working with a company, then they want me to show the unboxing portion. Then I usually do it in the same video that I'm demoing the gear in. A separate video is, I don't know. I don't see, first impressions. Okay, well, that's great. I mean, we'll get a good first impression out of the box, but, if you're doing it as part of a review, kind of prolong, it just seems like prolonging the inevitable, if you know what I mean. And the instance of my channel, you guys don't have the patience for that. If I do two videos in a row, or even like a week apart or 2 weeks apart on the same topic, I guarantee you guys aren't going to watch the second one. You never do. I've tried it numerous times. You guys watch part of the first one, you get your fill, and you have no interest in any more info, even shortly thereafter. So, YouTube, the attention span of YouTube viewers for that sort of thing is narrow. Anyways, so, if there's people that are buying fake Gibsons and unboxing them, that's, if they're just unboxing videos, that explains why I wouldn't have seen them. So, because I just don't have much interest in that sort of thing. CS says, no, there's a company called Iconic doing budget guitars. Okay, so they must be, I'm assuming that they must be doing a BC Rich, or BC Rich-esque design or two, and it probably pissed them off. So, and, who could blame them? Time Serving Alien says, budget Chinese and Korean imports are taking all the under 500 market and doing it very, very well. And quite honestly, they're forcing the bigger companies, the Fenders, the Epiphones, to start putting out some better quality products at those price points. If there is one thing that the Chinese companies, and not so much Korea, because labor's got a lot more expensive. Their Korean guitars are $1,200-$1,500 now, but the under $500 stuff made in China, if there's anything that the Chinese companies have shown us and proven to us, it's that they can make a really, really good quality guitar for well under $500. Here's a good example that sells for $399. I sing the praises of this guitar over and over and over again. Good, decent sounding pair of humbuckers, stainless steel frets, stays in tune well, plays great. Coil splitting, metal, nice knurled metal control knobs. I mean, there's a lot going on with this. There's a lot going on with this guitar. A lot of good things to talk about. So, there is, and like I said, I'm all in favor of it because, they're putting out guitars with better specs than Fender and Ibanez, and not so much Ibanez. Ibanez has gotten back on they realize that they're losing some cheddar to the Chinese companies, but some of the other brands, Fender in particular, because they're trying to do it with their Squier brand, but I think they need to expand more and do it more with the Fender brand, or elevate everything, anything with a Fender logo on the headstock, should be well above that $500 price point. Yeah. Slacker Deluxe says, my company announced our job is ending sometime this year, hiring like crazy in the Philippines. Well, I'm certainly considering if in order to stay in the MI industry, which I certainly intend to do, I'm certainly open to relocating if it's the right opportunity in the right place. But Philippines ain't one of those places I'm willing to go. Jean Claude says, I just bought 3 real ones. The new color line of the standards, all excellent instruments. Setup from the factory is great. Intonation spot on. Yeah, I'm not knocking Fender. I think Fender's quality right now is as good as it's ever been. I just wish they would start producing actual Fender branded guitars. For the same price point that the EART and some of the other stuff that's out there now are doing. But at the same time, that's Fender's not going to do that. That's part of their that's going to be like way off brand for them. JMK2112 says, BC Rich had Iconic make OEM guitars for BC Rich, including Stranger Things Warlocks, then ended up defaulting on the deal. Oh, interesting. Okay, so Iconic Guitars must be the import factory or something that was building the Stranger Things guitars, etc., and those, which are the story behind that guitar is a way, that's been crazy as well if you're hooked into the BC Rich community, but interesting. So it made Iconic have to lay off staff. I'll have to dig into that, and chances are I'll probably be back doing this live stream thing here in the next week, or it's likely to be fairly regular here for a while. So I will look into that and hopefully have some more info to share next time you guys see me. Ian's Guitar Shack is here. Richard Virginia is here. How reliable is buying used from GC when they only post one pick and no description? 50-50 shot. Your best bet, is I guess it kind of depends on what it is. Most cases, I buy a lot of used pedals from Guitar Center, and I very seldom run into an issue. Very seldom. I bought some used guitars and had some good luck. I had good luck with them. The Black Ibanez RG that I demoed a few months ago. That was a used GC website find. So there's some good stuff out there. If you want to eliminate your chances of getting something that doesn't work, every single used listing on their website has the phone number of the store that's located at. Call the store. I know it could be difficult to get anybody to pick up the damn phone, but still call the store. Call multiple times if you have to talk to somebody. Call really, and the earlier in the morning, the better. Especially if you can call them like before 10 o'clock when a manager's there. That's somebody that knows what they're doing. Call and get some details, because I found in most cases if somebody knows that there's an issue with a piece, they're going to tell you. They don't, because when you return it, it's just a bigger, it's as much or more of a pain in the ass for them as it is for you. So A lot of times when somebody gets gets a piece that's a beat up piece from Guitar Center, half the time it's 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 UPS's fault or something, but a lot of times it's GC's. So yeah, best advice I can give you: call the store before you pull the trigger. Sometimes you might even get them to knock a few bucks off too. Not always; they're not quite as inclined to discount used gear, but who knows? Maybe something that they've had for a while and they're motivated to get the hell out of there. So. JMK 2112, also Iconic Guitars out of Carlsbad, California. Interesting. Okay, I will look into that. I have not heard a word about any of that, any of that stuff going on. But that sucks that they didn't hold up their end of the deal. Screwed BC Rich. BC Rich are finally getting back on their feet after that dreadful Praxis ownership tenure. Time Serving Alien says Sinstar, IYV, Leo James, and Firefly are knocking it out of the park. I agree. Those are all prime examples of the guitars I'm talking about. Dawn R is here from Frozen North. Dawn and Claire, how are you? I think you're up in Chicago area, if I remember right. And it's cold here. It's real cold there. Mademan74 says, didn't realize you had so many guitars. Last tally was, I don't know, last time I counted them, I think it was 44 or something like that. I sold a few, including just, I just sold one last week that I've been trying to sell forever. Finally it moved. But, yeah, I you can't see all of them either because there's actually a few more hanging up above the camera on the computer screen, and you guys look like the first one you can see is this bass. So, and there's just that are out of view of camera. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You guys can see the Zager acoustic behind me, but it's kind of hard to see, and you probably wouldn't know it if you weren't looking for it. What's that? 9, 10, 3, 4, 5 more out there. So 9 to so what? That's 14 more. All right. GC has a good return policy on used gear. Yep. Regular 45-day return policy usually applies on that stuff too. Have you tried playing the budget SBS Steve Brown Sounds guitar line? I have not. There's with all these budget guitar lines that are popping up that are just making awesome products. It's hard. It's hard to keep up with them all. And they're hard to get a hold of unless unless I either buy one, which I'm not doing, or they send me one, and get in touch with somebody at the company that's willing to do so. That's the hard part. So I'm hoping to get a hold of some of that stuff here in the coming months, though. Lots of poplar body guitars out here for cheap. As soon as I see the word poplar, no deal. Yeah, poplar and alder are basically the same thing. They're really similar, to my understanding. Help a brother out and hit that like button. Yes, please. Van Halen's guitars had poplar bodies. Food for thought. Also true. Poplar or alder. Depends on which one. Like his that Ibanez Destroyer that he was famous for in the early '80s. That one was actually a Koa body, I think, or I'm sorry, a Carina rather. And after he had to have gotten drunk that night that they took a drill to it and knocked out that huge chunk and put the turnbuckle in. That had to be why he did that, because he said it all taking out that much wood altered the tone quite a bit, and unfortunately by then they changed the body wood, so he couldn't go buy another one. So he just lived with it. My knee hurts says ads are killing my stream. I'm not touching them. That's all YouTube, and YouTube with their ads. They're running their ads out of freaking control right now. I mean, I like to watch YouTube videos, and I mean, even a short 3 or 4 minute video seems to get interrupted at least once or twice. And the times that you gotta wait before you can hit the damn skip button and move through it are getting longer and longer. It used to just be it was 5 seconds, which I could live with, but now it's, I've had to sit through 30 seconds of ads a couple of times here just in the last few days. I've noticed, so they keep extending that out. A bunch of YouTube greedy corporate bastards. Anything I buy used from GC, I have it shipped to my local GC instead of my house. That way, if it's damaged or faulty, they see it firsthand at the store, and it can be addressed on site. That's not a bad way to do it if you don't mind traveling, don't mind driving to go pick it up. I've done that before. Ian's Guitar Shack says I got an Infinity Squire. Pardon me. I got an Infinity Squire I got 2 years ago. 2-point post gave me problems. Crazy glue. Should be up there with duct tape and WD-40. Maybe basswood, not poplar, I think. I think poplar and alder are the same thing. Or very, very similar. I think they're, closely related. I might be wrong, though. They sure seem awfully similar. Basswood, on the other hand, is usually a lot more lightweight in a lot of cases. Let's see. Is custom shop guitar a better deal as far as QC over production, or are you better off with the latter? Oh man, I mean that's that's a real hard question to answer, because I've seen custom shop guitars that are amazing, and I've seen some of them that are, I would have rather had the production model, So that's a case. Honestly, that's probably a case by case basis. I mean, generally speaking, custom shop guitars are going to be nicer, just because there's a lot more care and labor and skill and all that kind of stuff that goes into them, among other things. But I don't know that necessarily makes it better, than a nice production model, because define better, I guess. If you're talking, you're talking fit and finish, you're talking playability, you're talking sound, that's a broad question, that's really, honestly, pretty hard to answer. Uh, 40, those are rookie numbers. Well, I got up to 50 or so at one point, and it got to the point I was literally running out of. I literally had nowhere to put him. I literally had nowhere else to put another guitar. And it just. There's some that I didn't. Not only was I not playing, but I never really cared for them that much. So I sold them. I sold one of my, my Washburn dime guitar. I think I bought that guitar brand new in like 2000. I don't know what year it was. 2 maybe or something like that. Whenever 2001. I think I paid $250 for it brand new, and I sold it for $8. So for a bolt-on neck guitar. So yeah, I mean, it just got I simply just ran out of space. Maybe I'll have space for more in the next house, but right now I'm not exactly in guitar buying mode anyway. So said I was used Guitar Check says I was born in the Chicago area, Cook County. I haven't been up Chicago in a few years. Actually, might be time to. I might make another trip up there later this summer. Paid Man 74 says still one too few. Correct. Always need one more. My buddy Kyle Jordan's in here. Says, when is long-haired bald guy getting back together? Long-haired bald guy was a GC band that I was in many years ago. Back, God, that's probably 10 years ago now. We've kicked around a reunion a time or two or three, but it's never happened, and it's probably not going to happen anytime soon if it ever does. So. That especially now that we've all moved on, that's the hard part. Ross in particular, I haven't seen Ross, and I ran into him at a Rob Zombie show, a year or two after I left about a year after I left GC, and that was probably the last time I saw him. So been about that long since I've seen Press too. Now I think about it. Boss Time says me sitting here with 7. Dude, there's nothing wrong with that. There's a regular viewer that comments on just about every video, still to this day. He's got 2 guitars. He's got a Squier Telly that he loves, and he's got an acoustic that he loves. And those are his 2 guitars. They've been his only 2 guitars for ever, decades probably, and has no interest in buying another one. Those are his guitars, and that's what he plays. That's what he likes. So, there's plenty of people that are more interested in playing them than they are collecting them. So, my niece Hurt says I have 9 guitars, and that's 7 too many. There's an example right there. Block of the Lighter says 8 guitars, 4 basses, and a banjo, more than enough for me. Time Serving Alien, I agree. Always one short, the next one. The next one, yep, exactly. Donar, we lost count of our guitars. Have to do an inventory and dump some of them. Going to NAMM. No, I am not. I've part of me is I've talked about this before, but part of me is a little scared to go to show up at NAMM because I've gotten so many hate comments from some of my goofy, obnoxious videos over the years. Part of me is a little scared of what crazy fucking whack jobs I might run into out there. So that's one part of it, but the other part, is God, it's a long ass. It's a long ass trip. It's an expensive trip, and flights and hotels and all that stuff. Not to mention, that shit you hear about Anthrax every year is not is not a joke. I don't. As many people as there are that are posting NAMM content on YouTube. I mean, what's the point? I can see it all on YouTube as it goes up. So, maybe one of these days, but I've never had much interest in going. So, and when you sell the shit for a living anyway, I guess that's, I'm going to find out eventually, all the cool stuff, the new stuff that's coming out. Ash, I heard Eddie used also. It could be. Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Eddie, especially back in the 70s, Eddie Van Halen probably used all kinds of stuff. He was a gearhead. He was a gearhead like the rest of us. He used all kinds of shit and tried all kinds of different things. and kept a lot of that stuff, a lot of that stuff a mystery as well. He never, he never did quite reveal all of his tone secrets. But that's what made him special. One of the things. The Not a Guitar Body EVH bought for $50, I believe, was made of alder. Says Luis. My niece Hurt says, I watch less and less YouTube because their ads now, their loss. Yeah, and I get that. And I've, like I said, if I didn't stream so many videos, I watch a lot of stuff outside of the guitar genre. I watch news, I watch I watch cooking, I watch travel. There's a lot of stuff outside of outside of the guitar stuff, cameras and high tech stuff. When I'm when there's something I'm particularly interested in anyway. There's a lot of stuff that I watch outside of outside of the guitar stuff, and I really don't watch that much guitar stuff anymore, to be honest with you. I watch some. I still watch some. I still watch Glenn. I still watch Fluff. Pete Thorne on occasion. I still got my favorites out there, but some of my other favorites aren't producing videos like they used to. Jared Dines was quiet there for a while. So I don't know. I just there's no shortage of content on YouTube. Yep, YouTube upped the ads huge since New Year's. Yes, they did, and it's only gotten, they did that twice last year. I think they did once last summer, and then they bumped it up again after New Year's. Assholes. Mm-hmm. How do they get wood from a bass? Unless that's supposed to be how do they get wood from a bass. In which case, it'd be a pretty good question. It's a custom shop. It's crazy the custom shop can still be hit or miss. There's too many factors in it, man. The thing with custom shops is they, once they get them built, they want to get them the hell out the door. They got a lot of money wrapped up in it. They want their money. And sometimes that, that means that they don't get, they don't get to let them, sit and cure for, 2 or 3 months or 6 months or however long that would be ideal. I'm not a luthier. I don't know the answer to that, but that seems to be part of what goes on. Part of why you might buy an expensive guitar and the neck's out of whack or it's got sharp frets or something like that. See, Michael D is here. What are these two? There's a couple new, like I said, this is my first live stream in quite some time. So, like I said, there's a couple of new icons up here at the top that I haven't seen before. Create highlight video, add stream marker, yada yada, share. Okay, interesting. All right. Don R says, I'm confused about a guitar that seems to take a set neck, but it's a bolt-on. Any ideas? I found an old Washburn KC44 V-neck that seems will work, but haven't started cutting away yet. That I don't know. There's some pretty interesting bolt-on designs that could almost pass for set neck. Like the PRS CE series. Those are bolt-on guitars, but bolt-on neck guitars, but they almost look like their regular set neck core designs. But beyond that, I don't know. But now that you mention that Washburn, this is a KC40V out of that same series. You should be able to see, hopefully you can see right there on the truss rod cover. You know, and that's what the back of that neck looks like. You know, I mean, it's pretty standard bolt-on neck in here as I can tell. But I don't know if the model that you have is of a similar design or if it's something totally different, just happen to be out of the same series. So, I don't know. It's out of the Chicago series, they called it. Cool guitar, but this one actually needs to go. So, let's see. How do they get wood? How do they get wood from a bass with a lure? That's how. Oh boy, nothing wrong with a good Papa joke on a Saturday afternoon. Gary Brady says, I keep mine in a spare bedroom. 27, I'm assuming that's guitars, 11 amps, and only one is a full stack, so I have room for a few more. Yeah, see, I'm out of room. I got one shelf space I could probably fit one more head on, one more amp head, and that's it. You know, I mean, I've got some shelf space left for some pedals, but I mean, I've finally gotten to the point that I've just about hit my limit. Or not my limit, but I've hit my capacity. Johnny Hood says, hey there, Robert, late to the party. Just about shit when I heard about the $1,000 pickups from Gibson. What the fuck? $1,000 pickups from Gibson. Okay, what's going on here? Nothing on the Googles, but unless it's, let's see, pickup shop. I got something called collections. $299, $129, yada yada, $250, $300, yada yada yada. I don't see anything for $1,000. There's a match set of historics that are $500. Custom buckers, they're calling them, which Alnico 3 8K. They've added a lot of new pickup models in the last several years, but unless it's some custom shop thing. $1,000 for pickups. If they're, I don't know what they are, but if they are selling a pickup or pickup set for $1,000, I'm willing to bet that it's probably it's probably like a take on a old hand wired vintage hand wound pickup or something from the 50s or the 50s or 60s. Those if you can get a hold of a set of vintage Gibson pickups from that era, they go for big money. But so if they're reissuing something like that, I mean there's Gibson collectors out there that will have no problem paying $1,000 for pickups. So my advice, get the Duncan equivalent for $150. You'll never know the difference. Ian's Guitar Shack says he has 16 guitars. Made Man 74 guitar collectors chase perfection, but hope they never achieve it, as there will not be a next one. I think that's true with with all guitar players. Whether they're collectors or they're just players that are rifling through guitars. So I've seen plenty of both. Chasing tone is not it's not about the it's not the tone that they're after for. It's that they're into. It's the journey. Four playable, 3 in various states of completion. Gary ready to play all of mine in rotation. I own 2 acoustics, an old J45, and a parlor I repaired that's 100 years old. None of my gear is real new stuff. Even my pedals are from a decade or 2 old. Ian's Guitar Shack says Fuzz Factory fans at NAMM. Not just the Fuzz Factory fans, but Zachary Vex himself has actually commented on that video that he was less than impressed. Well, what he said was, he commented about the guitar being out of tune. It says, apparently he doesn't like tuners, so I guess he's in good company or something like that. I don't know what it was, but. I don't know, but that video sure did make a whole lot of fanboys butthurt. Still does all the time. I think it's hilarious. Jim Woodard says Eddie played a Steinberger for a while. That I didn't know. I've also heard that after they finished up their first album and their first tour, and all of a sudden they they all had a bunch of money for the first time ever. Eddie, and the first thing Eddie and Alex did was retired their father. They paid him. They paid for his retirement so he could stop working. And the second thing that Eddie did was he bought a collection of Les Pauls, which surprised me because I've never once seen him play in a Les Paul. Or even heard him talking about it. I read it in a book a long time ago, and I've always kind of wondered how true it is. But like I said, Eddie was into all kinds of stuff. The stuff that that he never even talked about. So it wouldn't surprise me, if he had a couple of favorite Les Pauls hanging out at that 5150 studio that he's recorded a few tracks with and nobody's even aware of. I'll bet you he does. Jim Woodard says YouTube Premium is the way to go. Yeah, but with all the ad revenue that this channel, and I know I'm not, it's not. There's a lot of channels that are making a lot more than me, but still, I've made all the ad revenue they make from my channel would more than pay for YouTube Premium. There's no way in hell I'm paying YouTube for that. They ought to be giving it to me for free. Any monetized channel that's making them, that's making them way more than what a YouTube Premium membership would cost, ought to be getting comped a YouTube Premium membership. Ian's Guitar Shack says, do you watch reviews? I don't know. It depends. I mean, I don't necessarily, if there's something specific that I'm like, a piece of gear or a piece of, a specific item that I'm researching, then I'll search out videos on that particular item, whether I'm familiar with the channel or not. Yeah, it helps if I'm familiar with the channel, but that's usually a lot of, also an opportunity for me to, also an opportunity for me to check out some other channels that I haven't, that I may not be familiar with. But I don't know that I follow some channels because I like their demos, but I follow a lot, but really I like their their personalities and their approach on things a lot more than than I do the gear that they're demoing. There's specific information on specific things that I look for that I use YouTube to find out, but even when I review something, I mean, and there's obviously there are times when companies are paying me to do so, but in the instance that it's not somebody paying me to do so, I mean, most everything else that you see is stuff that I do, for my own enjoyment, sometimes sometimes I'll put up a video that I think you guys might enjoy, and in hopes it might generate some views and generate some more, some more traffic, for lack of a better term, for the channel. There's nothing wrong with that either. But I mean, generally, most everything that I do is, because it's something. It's a topic that I personally have an interest in. So, if something I don't have an interest in, it's probably not going to make its way on here. So, Luis is out. See you, dude. Gary Brady said, I watch lots of things. None pertains to old guitars. None that pertains to old guitars, with one exception. That's you, because I'm a grumpy old man. I seem to attract a lot of grumpy old men in my audience on this channel. Seriously, a lot of my audience seems to be older than me, which is kind of interesting, because I'm 46. Serenity says, "Welcome back to the live show." Yeah, we'll see. See how long I stick around doing it this time. I mean, I kind of go in spurts. Eventually I get bored. Two things tend to happen. I either get bored, or I see that it's not doing anything to generate any more interest in the channel, which I am actively trying to grow. And if it's either one of those situations, I mean, it'll get to a point. Right now there's snow on the ground, and there's I don't have much else to do, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm not doing this because I don't have anything else to do, but it's just a good opportunity for me to get back at it and try it again. But as soon as one of those other things starts happening again, especially if it's not generating any additional interest, what's the point of doing this? So. I have 34 guitars, 4 amps, love them all. Try to rotate them as far as being played. Yeah, and there's some that I play more than others, and I think that's probably the case with most people. I mean, for my videos, I tend to pick up one of 3 or 4 different guitars, most often. But for other purposes, I do play the others a fair amount. I am working on putting a new band together, so. If that takes off, there's some of these that have been sitting for a while are going to start getting some more playtime again. Fortunately, like this, this warlock, some of these warlocks and shit like that. So, but not there yet. Still need to find I got 4 out of 5 pieces in place, and of course, it's the damn lead singer that I haven't found yet. Ian's Guitar Shack says, "Didn't you have that Washburn for sale?" Yes, it is, and it's still for sale. I think it's listed on Facebook Marketplace. It might be listed on Reverb. I don't remember. Maybe eBay. I don't know. If it's not, it probably will be in the coming weeks. Jim Woodard says, I've only got 14 guitars and 1 bass, but I play all but a couple regularly. Just when I don't think I need one, I get into another project and need the one I got rid of. That also seems to be a pretty common theme. I tend to get rid of, like the one that I sold the other day was a semi-hollow body that, it was a Latitude semi-hollow body. They sent me the guitar, for a video, and I'm not a semi-hollow body guy. It's not my thing. So I mean, after I got done with that video, it literally collected dust. King Taco is here. Gary Brady says need a bigger home. So what I do too. For more reasons than just just more room to store guitars. But we're actually talking about that me and Mrs. Jackson have been talking about that a fair amount here lately. I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon, but we're thinking it might be time to upgrade, get into a bigger house. When that happens, God, packing up this room is going to suck. Oh man, I'm not looking forward to that. Dawn R says, thanks for the info on the guitar neck. I want to complete it because the body is a fractal Lichtenberg wood burn. It's really hot and so cool. Interesting. Blocket Lighter says those 59 PAF silly as F. I'm assuming that's those $1,000. $9.99 for 257 PAF pickups in a case. Well, if they're legit 57, like original vintage 57 pickups, I'm surprised they're selling that cheap. I've seen those things go for $1,500, $2,000, sometimes more. But if they're reissues, $1,000 is, yeah, they're overpriced. Especially for copper wire wound magnets. Is basically what they are. But like I said, Gibson. There's plenty of Gibson customers that are more than happy to pay that for them. I guarantee you, they'll sell like hotcakes. Flux says, Robert, is that a Mike Fortin designed Randall Diavolo head behind you? Yes, it is. I can't, my head probably kind of blocking it, but yeah. Yep. RD20. Love that amp. I did most of my, the early years of this channel, most of my pedal demos, most of my demos, period, were done through that amp. Not the very beginning, but, like a year and a half in. What is your opinion on your JCM 900? I have one, but I'm trolled terribly for having it because it has clipping diodes, and yet those who troll me use a tube screamer in front. Isn't this a clipping diode? And I don't. It's the fucking cork sniffers that that piss and moan about the JCM 900. Let those people bitch. I don't fucking care. I mean, when especially if if I'm using it at a gig. Find me one person in the audience that you're playing that amp in front of that gives a flying fuck what kind of amp you're using. Find me one. And and furthermore, I mean, even without anybody else's opinion, I happen to love that amp. I mean, go here. I'll see if I can find my video on it. And or here, while I'm thinking about it, better yet, don't take my word for it. Take there's Fluff's video that he did about a year ago. Go check out his video, and mine. Let me find it. One of my shittier thumbnails from way back when. There it is. And, oh, wow, that video's got 15,000 views now. So, if you want my opinion on mine, there it is. But yeah, I love that amp. That's always, the 900s have always been one of my favorite Marshalls. Jim Woodard says those pickups are collector pieces, not meant for someone under a Joe Bonamassa folks to install. Yeah, so yeah, there you go. Collector stuff. So that's who they're building them for, and that's who they and that's why they know that they're gonna get the $1,000 they're asking for. Blues lawyers basically. Not that there's anything wrong with blues lawyers. There's not. And Jim's bouncing. See you, dude. Ian's Guitar Shack says, I agree with you. YouTube should give premium service to their monetized channels like yours. Yep, I've said that for a long time, and I refuse to give them any freaking money for their premium bullshit. Gary Brady says, "Do you have a favorite pointy guitar?" Oh boy, that I own or in general, that I own. Oh man, I own a lot of pointy guitars, and I go back and forth. I mean, I've always loved the Warlock shape. I kind of like that one right now. Explorers, I love. That Hammer Scarab is a really cool, really unique body shape. Nobody else does anything like that. I don't know what else do I got hanging up in here. There's all kinds of stuff. One that I don't own, that I really like that I don't own, is the BC Rich Beast. Love the Beast. The Beast is cool. The Widow's cool. The Zombie is cool. I don't own any of those. The Mockingbird's real cool, and I do own that one. But favorite, I don't know. Hard to say. For a long time, I was a pointy guitar guy, and that's all I played was odd shaped pointy guitars. And here the last few years, I've been playing Super Strats. So. Let's see. Tyler Johnson says, "I'm 24, but I love hanging with the old guys." Thanks. Appreciate it, I think. My generation is a nightmare. Gary Brady's 70. Time Surfing Aliens 57. Ian's Guitar Shack's 58. Block the Lighter says, "You'll be 50 plus before you know it." Believe me, I'm there. Pick a one, Paul. If you let's see. King Taco says, "Do you happen to know who Spectre Sound Studios is?" If you're referring to Mr. Glenn Fricker, yes, I do. I actually watch his channel frequently, and have appeared on it myself, and for about 2 seconds, in one of his stupid musician text videos, which I was the. He included me, and I was the only one that he included that he forgot to mention, forgot to mention my name, or he posted in a group, a secret group on Facebook that a lot of us are in, who want to be in it, and I spoke up, and he said, "Yeah, send me the clip." So I sent him the clip, and he put it in. But I don't, but that's it. But I don't know him very well, But all my interactions with him, though, he's he seems to be a pretty good guy, and I think he's extremely knowledgeable. So I find a lot of his points. He's brash and and cusses a lot, which I don't care about. But I find a lot of his points very, very difficult to argue with, and seems to make a lot of sense. Not all of them. I don't agree with. He hates the PV Sheffield, and I talked about that in a video or two recently. That I don't agree with, but generally speaking, I think his topics and his videos are pretty well thought out. Matthew Lee says, "Hi, Robert. I wanted to say thank you for inspiring me to pick up a guitar back in 2016. I'm now up to 3,838 hours of practice with 38,969 songs played through. Your list videos have saved me so much money." My pleasure, man. I'm glad to hear it. Glad, it's heartwarming to hear when somebody's been inspired by me, though I don't know what I've done to inspire anybody, but it's nice to hear when on the occasion that it does happen. But it's even nicer to hear that you stuck with it, because that's the hardest part. So many people pick up guitar, find out that it's not quite as easy to learn as they anticipated, and give it up. Gary Brady says, "Just me and the girlfriend, a 3-bedroom home, one bedroom for the amps, the other is for my guitars. Ours is pretty similar. You know, we've got, you know, our bedroom, and then this bedroom is my gear room, and then the third bedroom is kind of a utility office slash guest room ish. So, but we need a fourth bedroom, which is another reason why we're thinking about going to another house. But that's another topic for another day. Block Lighter says, I'm not too fond of the JCM900. It has nothing to do with the diodes. A friend of mine gets a great sound from it, though. Not everybody likes them. They're not for everybody, and I never said that they were. I just said I happen to love them. You know, but you know the I guess what really what I really hate about guitar players is, you know, when they think they fucking know everything, you know, and they get to the point that they start trolling somebody because they're using a piece of gear, you know. And yes, I know I'm notorious for making fun of people for, you know, making fun of gear all the time, but I'd never make fun of anybody for using it. You know, if somebody that's, you know, custom amps, you know, for, you know, somebody, you know, if you got a custom tuck and roll amp, you know, that I've been very clear about are not my thing at all. You know, I don't like those amps one single bit, you know, but if it's your thing, good, man, go play it. I mean, I'm not telling you not to. I'm not telling anybody not to. Just saying that. Pardon me. I'm just saying, you know, one, I don't like them, and two, it's an opportunity for me to crack some jokes and make a video. You know, but you know, I guess that, you know, when you're clowning on somebody because of what amp they're playing through, you know, fuck you. Who gives a shit what they think? Who gives a shit what I think? You know, what do you think? You know, if you like the sound of it, that's what's important. To me, all Marshalls sound great. I've tried a lot of amps, and Marshall is king, but I also like Peavey, Blackstar, Fender. I know you did a vid on MY on my, but for the price and sound, I can't beat it. Yeah, I like most of that stuff too. I'm a Marshall. You guys know I'm a Marshall guy. I also like Peaveys. There's one sitting right there. I like Peavey amps quite a bit too, and Fender amps, and, you know, Black Stars I'm, you know, kind of lukewarm about, but some of them are okay. King Taco says, I find him very knowledgeable and very, very new to mixing and studio related stuff. Robert and Spectre both help in lots of ways. Yeah, his content's way different from mine. I mean, I'm not a studio guy at all. I mean, I've got recording equipment, but I mean, nobody's beating down my door asking me to produce the next album for them. So, you know, I'm not a studio guy. Ace Frehley used JCM 900 one time, but they suck, so it's been said. But what does he know? One time Ace Frehley was using both 900s and JCM 2000 DSLs. He was using both of those. I don't know if he was going back and forth or using them simultaneously, but matter of fact, he and Paul Stanley both. Paul Stanley was using JCM 900s for a long time. Might still be. I don't think he is. Actually, I think he's gone to Engel, but he was using Marshall JCM 900s, you know, the dual reverbs, you know, the one that I have for a long time. Marshall style pedals could sound pretty spot on. Run it through any amp with a good clean, and you're golden. I don't know about any amp through with a good clean, but, you know, a lot of them are designed to sound pretty good that way. Some amps just, you know, their clean channels do kind of suck. Not because they're not clean. There's just something that they don't like. You know, pedals don't sound the way they should through them. I don't know why. Somebody says, I want the Kerry King BC Ridge. I do love my Warlock. I installed locking cheap tuners made a difference in tuning stability. Guy Marzello says, unpopular opinion, katanas are better than tube amps. You know, I mean, that's kind of like comparing apples to oranges in some ways, but Nothing against a Katana. It's a great amp for the arena that it competes in. But, but if I had to choose between that or my trusty PV50, 6505, I'm going to stick with my 6505. Don R says you ought to maybe demo the ISP Theta preamp pedal. It's awesome. Lots of knobs on it for you to fool around with. Electric Glide Band approved. I will look into it. But the days of me buying gear specifically to demo on my channel are, starting to be. I still do it occasionally, but I'm not doing that nearly as much as I used to. So. Pardon me. The end goal is the full 10K hours of practice. I'm working towards writing a paper on the journey. The inspiration you provided was just straight facts and no bullshit or fluff on what it takes, you asked. No, absolutely. Thank you very much. I'm glad that glad you've gotten something out of the content and that you're able to do something with it for your in your own life. I think that's great. I had a great teacher when I started playing, then found a great voice teacher. None of us woke one day able to do this stuff. That is a good point. There was a point in time, once upon a time, even Eddie Van Halen sucked at playing guitar. Nobody was born being able to do this shit. Time Surfing Alien is a Kramer that put out an under $200 guitar recently. Yes, I believe so. You might be referring to the Kramer Beretta Special. That I think this guitar was $179 when I bought it. Now it sells for about $199, maybe $2 something. I don't know. Just over $200. It's not, it's pretty. It's about as budget friendly as guitars get these days. So, I did later on change the pickup, but I didn't need to. I did that because Voodoo Pickup sent that to me, which is without getting too far off topic, that's a really, really interesting humbucker that he sent me that I wanted to try. And I bought this guitar kind of specifically to be a pickup mule, and then I put that Voodoo pickup in it and really liked it, and I was like, I'm thinking I'm just going to leave it in there. So, but yeah, that's probably the one that you're thinking of. I'm assuming anyway. Thunder Falcon says a bad amp can start a fire. So can a guitar. Ask Gibson about the Firebird X. Those were known to catch fire. Tyler Johnson. Kramer has a few. Sub $200 guitar. Strat copy for $150 and Beretta Special start at $180. Hence the Beretta Special that I just showed you. Man, it's a good thing. Savandy says you ain't the only one slowly going away from gear demos. Unless it is groundbreaking. Don't know why. Yeah, I mean, I've kind of noticed that, and I'm kind of more into. It's necessary, and again, because I am trying to build a business. Yeah, and I do still like doing them. But the truth is, the interest in them seems to be waning quite a bit. Anytime I put up a demo video of just about anything, it gets 1,000, 1,500, maybe 2,000 views, maybe, within the first couple of days anyway. You know, I mean, they just don't seem to be as popular as they used to. Like I said, unless it's something that's highly anticipated, something people have been waiting to come out. You know, they want some information on because they want to go buy it, that sort of thing. Then yeah, but you know, most of the other demos that I do, though, I mean, like I said, they're pretty much for my own enjoyment. So, which I'm not. You know, that's kind of why I started this whole channel to begin with, was for my enjoyment. Alrighty. Well, I'm out of here. I'm going to go cook some lunch and Dawn R says, come on, guys, 26 watching this video, so give Robert a like. Yes, please. Please, please, please hit the like button if you don't mind. That would help quite a bit. So, in the meantime, lunchtime, I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my Saturday. So, you dudes and dudettes all go enjoy your Saturday as well. Later.